This is Paul. Yeah. And I was reading you in the law. Yeah. They have what's called civil service jobs. Yes. And the United States, there are two major types of civil service. One's a federal, one's a state and local. Says the federal government is the largest employer in the United States with an estimated 3 million people on a civilian payroll. Several other these people staff the executive departments of the government, such as the Department of Treasury, Department of Commerce, over 60 major agencies, and scores of other boards, commissions, corporations, and agencies. Approximately 10% are employed in Washington, D.C. It seems like there's a lot of different persons employed in the federal, state, and city governments. Now, it says here to get a job as a federal civil service officer, personnel management test, or so on and so forth, written test, and then personnel officer vacancy, and so on. Several candidates invited to visit the agency. It says not everyone is eligible for a federal civil service job. You must be a citizen of the United States, or you must owe it your allegiance. When you apply, you have to fill out a detail, ask you, among other things, about your loyalty to the American form of government. Grounds for disqualification include false statements on your application, immoral conduct, excessive use of alcohol, and evidence of disloyalty to the American form of government. Now, it seems like to get one of these civil service jobs, yes, you cannot in any way be disloyal to the American form of government, and you cannot have any allegiance to any other form of government. Now, I had emailed the Merit, they call it Merit Systems Protection Board, the MSPB, and the OPM, the Office of Personnel Management, about my constitutional rights being violated. Now, I know it sounds like a difficult thing to believe that almost 3 million persons, and I don't know exactly when this was printed, but approximately 10% of those in Washington, D.C. Now, there's something interesting here. 2 out of 3 people in the federal service are white-collar workers, so they must get paid pretty good. Yep, and it says that you can't have more than 2 people in a family being a federal civil service person. Now, what I thought was very interesting, yes, is you cannot, almost all of them cannot be involved in any sort of politics. They had the Civil Service Reform Act of 1978. Has made it easier for managers to fire incompetent workers. And you have to be notified in writing. You have to reply to the charges, then you can be dismissed. You can appeal the decision for getting fired, but you would have to go through the Merit Systems Protection Board. Now, the Hatch Act of 1939 prohibits almost all employees in the federal executive civil service from taking an active role in political management or in political campaigns. Anyone who violates the Hatch Act is subject to the loss of his job, a fine, and imprisonment. Now, I just wanted to know, of all of those that are in civil service work, yes, federal, state, and local civil service, how many of them have been involved in any campaigns or the management of any campaigns? I had asked for all the employees of every political campaign everywhere in the United States. Yes. Did any of those that are in civil service work, the federal, state, and local work, how you doing? I'm doing fine, thanks. Were any of them involved in any campaigns or political management for the last 20 years? I have emailed what I thought was most all of the oaths of office throughout the United States about not having allegiance to any other form of government, no other principles of government, no other constitution, the fish family top secret way of depriving Americans of their rights. Now, I'm just going to need to know of all the civil service employees, every state, all the local civil service employees, and every person in Washington, D.C., how many of them actually have knowledge that my rights are going to be or have been violated? Yes. Now, if you could go through the IP addresses of every civil service employee, I'd like to know how many of them ever seen a video or read the emails or have any knowledge that my rights are being violated, that my sons are being held hostage, and the United States government has refused to enforce the Constitution of the United States. Now, when it says you cannot be disloyal to the American form of government, that the Constitution and its laws have to be enforced, I just want to know the exact number of federal civil service employees for the last 40 years, even those retirement. In fact, I looked at the word pension, pension, and it seemed like a lot of civil service employees, they get paid a pension when they retire. Could you get me the exact monthly income of every civil service employee everywhere in the United States? Now, when I email those in office, when I email the Merit Protection Systems Board, or MPSB, and I inform them that the Constitution of the United States is being violated, and they don't email me explaining, well, I understand as a civil service employee that your rights are being violated, and the Constitution is not being supported and defended, and as a civil service employee, I have to give my allegiance to the United States government. Now, there are those that would say, Paul, do you actually have enough attorneys to sue every employee in the federal government that would not support and defend the Constitution because their allegiance is to another form of government? Well, you'd be surprised how many attorneys would like to have that type of work. Now, are you going to support and defend the Constitution today?